Welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders, a weekly talk show with local and national thought leaders on issues impacting the Black community. Now introducing our host, Miss Anne-Marie Sorrell.
Afternoon and welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders. I am your host, Anne-Marie Sorrell, President CEO of the Mosaic Group. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We have a very exciting program ahead. But before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Broward Health, the Florida Lottery, and Miami Land. And if you haven't checked out Miami Land, check out this video. The weekend is upon us, so be sure to check out Miami Land with your family this weekend. Now, today we are joined by one of my good friends. She's such an inspiration, an amazing leader, businesswoman, and influencer, Miss Teri Williams, who is the president and CEO and COO and owner of OneUnited Bank, the largest Black-owned bank in the country. Welcome, Teri.
Oh, thank you. It's good to see you, Ansara.
Good seeing you as well. We have so much to talk about today, but before we get started, I want to formally introduce you to our audience. I'm just going to read your bio really briefly. Teri Williams is the president and COO and owner of OneUnited Bank, the largest Black-owned bank in the country and supporter of the Bank Black and Buy Black movement. She is responsible for the bank's strategic initiatives as well as the day-to-day operations, including all retail branches, marketing, compliance, lending, information technology, customer support, legal, and human resources. Ms. Williams brings 30 years of financial services expertise, including Bank of America and American Express, where she was one of the youngest vice presidents. Ms. Williams holds an MBA with honors from Harvard University and a BA with distinctions in economics from Brown University. She currently is chair of the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts, BECMA, and on the board of the 79th Street Corridor Initiative in Miami, Florida. Ms. Williams is author of I Got Bank, What My Granddad Taught Me About Money, a financial literacy book for urban youth. She is married and has 2 children. Welcome again, Teri.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we're going to dive right in. So tell us a little bit more about your background, your journey, and specifically your journey to owning and building the largest Black bank in America.
Yeah. So, first of all, I'm from Indiantown, Florida. So it's very small town up in Martin County, going towards Belglade and Pahokee. For those of you that don't know that part of the world.
Pahokee.
What's that?
I grew up in Pahokee.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. Okay, we probably hung out at the same parties. I'm from Indiantown. So clearly this was a journey. I didn't think growing up that I would own a bank. But my great grandmother owned a barbecue pit, a penny candy store, a juke joint, and some real estate in Indiantown. And I used to follow her around as a kid. I didn't realize at the time that she was a businesswoman and an entrepreneur and all the things that we call it today. I just thought of her as my grandmother, my great grandmother. But I think that's where I got my interest in business from. And not only did she run these businesses, all of these businesses, and own this real estate, she also did a lot for the community. I've learned as I've gotten older how much of an inspiration she was. So I feel like I am my great grandmother. I feel like that's really how I got to be who I am today. And my journey is one that really can only happen in America. You know, I got a scholarship to go to Brown. I didn't even know what Ivy League was at the time. I then went on to Harvard Business School and then worked at Bank of America, American Express. So I had a corporate experience and then became an entrepreneur. And we, with my husband, actually, we work together. We've been together and working together for over 30 years. And so that's my journey.
Wow, what a beautiful journey, and such humble beginnings. And I'm so glad we share that in common, because a lot of people are not familiar with the rural areas of South Florida, including Indiantown and the Glades, and just where we come from. Oh my gosh! So great to see that connection. So Willie Gary.
Yes. Oh, yeah. From Indiantown. Lived right up the street. Yep. Our families are very close. So literally lived up the street from me. Grew up the street from me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So this has been an interesting year, and we're wrapping up the year. How has the affairs of 2020 impacted OneUnited Bank and the banking industry in general? And I mean affairs because we've just had a lot of different affairs. From the global pandemic to the already pandemic we had with race relations. So how has these series of events this particular year impacted your bank as well as the industry as a whole?
So the short answer is that we have doubled in size this year. Literally, our customer base has grown significantly. We have over 100,000 customers. It's one of the things that, when you're in a local market like I am, I'm in Miami right now, that sometimes people don't realize is that we're not just local, we're national. And that growth was really a result of a combination of things that you mentioned. With the COVID pandemic, people started to say, hey, I can't, go into a bank branch. I need to figure out how to bank online. And we have a very robust mobile and online banking platform. So a lot of people came to us through that. And then, racism, people started to realize, where I put my money really does make a difference. And we saw a lot of people that moved their money to Black banks with the Bank Black and Buy Black movement. So we have grown significantly. Our staff here has grown from 5 to 30 employees that are here in Miami. Because our call center has increased in size that services our customers. What I'd also say is that we also are thankful that the broader community is starting to recognize what we in the Black community have known our entire lives, which is that racism is real, is systemic, and that it impacts us tremendously. And so we get a lot less questions about, is Bank Black racist? Or, I didn't know that there were Black-owned banks. People now know we exist. They know that our movement is not racist. So those are good things. But where we are focusing our attention is how to close the racial wealth gap. How can we build wealth for ourselves, recognizing that racism is real and that we're going to have to do for ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, that definitely brings me to some of the initiatives and movements that you've been at the forefront. And then I think you have a new initiative that we definitely want to talk about. Yeah. So the Bank Black, which I have my Black card. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The Bank Black card move or Bank Black movement, and then the Buy Black movement. And then now you have the One Transaction campaign. Yeah. Tell us about those different initiatives.
Yeah. So starting with Bank Black and Buy Black, what we're really saying to our community and really to the world that we need to support our Black-owned businesses because we're more likely to hire Black folks. We're more likely to hire even Black vendors. We're more likely to actually do business in our community and to support our community. As banks, we're more likely to lend. Only 2% of the lending of national banks goes to Black folks in comparison to 60 or more percent for Black banks. So we're really saying in order to build up our community and create jobs in our community, as we're doing, as we've done even this year, we need to support our Black-owned institutions. And that has resulted in a lot of new business for not just Black banks, but just for Black-owned companies in general. We did have Blackout Day 2020 this year, and it was July 7th. We did it with the Blackout Coalition, and across the country, Black businesses saw a huge surge in business that really, for many businesses, has not ended. So, so that's that movement. In addition to that movement, we are introducing a campaign next year called One Transaction, because we know that there's this wealth gap between Black folks and white folks. That Black Americans have a net worth of about $17,000 in comparison to white Americans that have a net worth of about $170,000. And that difference is what we're seeking to close.
Okay.
Yep. Part of the way to do that is through public policy, which is necessary. And so the Black vote matters, and we've seen that in this election.
Yes.
Yes. But public policy moves slowly. We also need to focus on what we can do for ourselves. And that's where the one transaction comes in. And we're asking our community, what is the transaction, the one transaction that you can do in 2021 to close the wealth gap for your family? What's that one transaction? Is it buying a home? Is it having a will? It's amazing how many people in our community that don't have a will. I mean, you hear about, Prince didn't have a will, Aretha Franklin didn't have a will, Chadwick Boseman didn't have a will. You hear of this from celebrities, but only 28% of our community has a will. And as I always say, 100% of us are going to die.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so
That's a good analogy, a good way to put it. Yeah.
But we believe if we have a will, then we're going to die immediately. And that's not the case. But we really do need to focus on having a will, having insurance. I don't know how many of us, our parents die and they didn't have insurance, so they don't have anything to pass on to us. So having insurance, owning a home, having a business, a profitable business, fixing your credit score, having a savings or investment account. I mean, these are all the transactions that we need to do, and we outline them. There's 6 transactions that we're asking our community to focus on, one of them, at least one, that you can get done in 2021.
And I love that because, economic development, generational wealth is a must.
Yeah.
And has to be a major focus in our community. Yeah. And so I love that you're already playing this role with this new campaign that you're rolling out. Does OneUnited Bank provide mortgages, business loans? Let's talk about what services you provide to help with that one transaction or multiple transaction.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad you asked that, because that's exactly what we're focused on now before we launch the campaign. So we do provide mortgages, home loans. We provide a first-time home buyers program where the county of Miami will give you up to $70,000 to buy a home, and it's real money. We close those transactions all the time. So, so we do have a home loan, home mortgage, first-time home buyers program. We also finance multifamily property. We actually have a new rate on our multifamily loans of 2.75%.
Really?
Oh, yes. So you can do a multifamily loan with us for 2.75%. So we do finance that. And then we also have ways for people to focus on improving their credit. About 30% of our community has bad credit. We have a secured card program. We have a second chance checking account program, because about a third of our community, has check systems records. So we give them a second chance by opening up a checking account with us and a savings account. So we do have some programs, but we don't have everything. And so what we're looking to do is to partner with organizations. We have an announcement that we expect to come out next month, that we're going to partner with an organization to offer business loans. We're also looking to partner with some organizations that could put our community in touch with estate planners and attorneys for wills and estates. So we're looking to for partnerships, for Black partnerships that can offer all of the services out of the 6 that we mentioned in our One Transaction campaign.
I love that, and I'll follow up with you because I do have a client, and we'd love to have OneUnited Bank have more of a presence here in Palm Beach County.
Okay, yeah.
So I do have a client here that just recently became a CDFI.
Oh, great.
So I think they'd be a great partner for you. And then there are definitely some estate planners and probate attorneys that I can definitely connect you with that has spoke at our National Black Economic Conference. And you guys were a participant this year.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's exactly what we're looking for. Because, yeah, it's one thing to say focus on these transactions. It's another to say, and this is how you can do that. And for, especially a will, you do need to engage an attorney, and finding attorneys in our community that offer those services would be fabulous. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, will this apply nationally or is it only Miami-based?
Nope, national. It's a national program. So as an example, this organization that we're going to be partnering with for business loans does business loans nationally. And this, again, I keep saying this, it's Black owned. So, and our focus is really to say, we can do this as a community. We have the resources, we have the talent in our community to do all the things that we need. We are the ones that we've been looking for, because it's more than just offering these services. It's having the trust that people are going to not steer you wrong. And that trust is important. And that's why we're both partnering with organizations that we trust and offering, sort of the referral of those organizations to our community.
Absolutely. And that brings me to another point, because I've been hearing from different economists as well as, conversations in different spaces about the potential of a recession, and a recession being on the horizon. And so, we know that the last recession of 2008, the financial institutions and the financial industry was impacted, and it was a ripple effect, and we lost a lot of wealth from a matter of home ownership alone, just between foreclosures. So do you foresee, or are you hearing the same rumblings about a recession? And if so, how do you think it's going to impact not only the financial markets, but our communities?
Yeah. So this year has been somewhat surprising in its impact. The reality is, because of the stimulus programs, a lot of people have more money today than they had pre-pandemic. People that kept their jobs, that were in essential businesses, or that where their businesses were able to continue to do business, they were able to continue to have income, and then they received stimulus checks. And a lot of banks, including us, have seen growth, not just in customers, but also in deposits. There also has been an increase in mortgages and home purchasing, because I think people realize that if I'm going to be stuck in the house, let me look at my home and figure out what I need to do to make it better. So there's been a huge increase in home ownership and home purchases and refinancings as well. There has been talk about a recession in 2021, mainly because a lot of people say, oh, the shoe is eventually going to drop, that when you're experiencing what you didn't expect, the shoe's going to drop. I would contend that there really is the pandemic has increased economic inequality. So even though I said all the good things that are happening, there are also some not good things that are happening, and that people that have lost their job are still unemployed, and they're hungry, not just hungry for work, they're hungry for food. And the question is, how are we going to get people back to work? So for some people, we are in a recession, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
I do hear that they are going to do another stimulus by the end of this year. I do hear that it will include some direct payments, not as much as last time, like half, 600 as opposed to 1,200. And I do hear that the Democrats want to continue to do something next year. I hope that's the case because our community needs it. And it's specifically those that have lost their jobs. They need help.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I hope that we put politics aside and people first,
Yes.
and really do what's right for the public at
Yep.
this time, the American people.
Yep.
Now, I want to ask you about one of the growing industries, no pun intended, or pun intended, but cannabis. There's a lot of, it's still not federally legal, but there are 35 states that have legalized some form of cannabis. And when it comes to our community, you know that we have paid a huge price from a criminalization standpoint and social justice, etc. And in even so, we're still paying a price because there's still a lot of barriers with our community being able to enter the market and create businesses and create wealth. Now, those is slowly changing, but one of the biggest issues is even if you are able to, in any of these legalized states, create a cannabis business, banking is a hurdle. It's a big challenge. So where does OneUnited Bank stand on this particular emerging and growing industry and as it relates to banking?
Yeah. So it is a challenge. We currently do not bank cannabis businesses. And you're right. It is a growing business. It is one that our community has suffered from historically. And it's an opportunity that we need to fight for. So we are encouraging regulatory bodies to allow banks more latitude as it relates to cannabis. It is something that because we are a national, we're located nationally or do business nationally. We're in Boston, Miami, and LA, and each one of those cities has different cannabis rules and laws. We need a national decision on this. We need the nationalization of the legalization of cannabis, and we need it to be bankable from a regulatory perspective. Currently, it is not.
Yeah, absolutely. I strongly believe it could be one of those equalizers, especially for our communities, especially during this time where people need and are looking for new opportunities, new economic opportunities, whether you're creating a business or even starting a career, because there has to be professionals and people trained to support the industry. So I definitely will want to keep in touch with you to see how things unfold. And if you guys do start doing any type of banking in the cannabis space, please let us know.
Well, let me also talk about another opportunity in our community, which is the online opportunity.
Okay.
That the internet has really leveled the playing field in terms of us starting businesses, entering businesses. I mean, it used to be that you had to have brick and mortar, that you had to have a location, which was very expensive. And today, there's been a sea change. I mean, what we thought was going to take a whole generation to change happened in a year, where people went from, sort of doing business online to almost exclusively doing business online. And that represents an opportunity, excuse me, for our community that I just want to make sure we don't miss.
Yes.
That people need to make that pivot and say, whereas before maybe I had to look for that location. Now I don't.
Yeah.
And whereas before, I was having difficulty finding online customers, now they are there. We have all of these also, Amazon type websites like We Buy Black and the official Black Wall Street app that actually shows you how to find Black businesses. And so I just want to make sure that our community gets our fair share of the online businesses, because that is a huge, huge opportunity that we can take advantage of.
And that's a really good point. I was doing some research a few weeks ago on drop shipping, and
Yeah.
there are not enough Black-owned drop shipping companies. So that presents a huge opportunity, because when we're talking about setting up, a Shopify or We Buy Black or whatever account you want to use, the easiest way so you don't have to hold inventory and do a just-in-time operations is to have drop shipping. But there are very little drop shipping companies for any products.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we also looked at it, because we have, we don't do a lot of merchandise, but we wanted to get some Buy Black merchandise out. And we were looking for a firm that could do it for us, could hold the inventory and do everything, and could not find a Black firm. So you're absolutely right. That is definitely an opportunity for our community.
Absolutely. Well, I want to ask you just a couple more questions. How does our audience learn more about these efforts and, of course, get a OneUnited Bank personal and or business account, both preferably?
So first of all, you can go to OneUnited, ONEUnited.com, to learn more about the bank. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. On Facebook, it's OneUnited, and Instagram. I'm sorry, Facebook is OneUnited Bank, but Instagram and Twitter, it's OneUnited. And you can also, the great thing about Florida is that we actually have an office here. I always say that because, when you're in Baltimore or Houston or Chicago, you don't have that. But here in Florida, we actually have a branch office that you can come into. We're open. We've been open the entire pandemic, and no appointment needed. You can just walk in, open up a business account. You have to do that in person. You can bank online once you open it, but open up a business account. You can open up a personal account, really, online. You can completely bank with us on your phone. Take a picture of your check. We have 100,000 locations. We have a relationship with Green Dot, Walmart, 7-Eleven. You can bank, put cash reload your card. So we have all of that available. There's no reason to not bank Black.
And you have some of the most beautiful debit cards, by the way. So yes,
we do. I would show mine, but it has my number on it. But yes, we do. If you go to OneUnited.com/card design, you'll see our bold, Black, beautiful card designs done by a local artist. Again, I'm in Miami here. Adonis Parker. He actually did that painting as well. But you will see us represented. It was important for us to put Black faces on this international financial instrument. Visas everywhere you want to be, and Black folks now are everywhere you want to be.
Absolutely. I love it. Like I said, I have my Black card, and I'll be making my way down to open up this business account. And so we like for our guests to leave our audience with a golden nugget. So what's a golden nugget that you would like to leave with our audience?
Yep. Oh, that's a good one. So I would say to everyone is really to follow your passion. Passion is key, particularly right now during this time when it may be difficult. Sometimes it may feel that the world has been turned upside down. It's a good time to really let go, follow your passion. I listen to this song, Optimistic, by Sounds of Blackness for my inspiration. And so find your inspiration and do that one transaction in 2021.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
Teri.
you,
This has been,
Anne-Marie. It was good
oh,
to
you're
see you. And
welcome.
I
This
had
has
no
been a
idea you were from Pahokee. I'm like,
yes.
oh, how did I miss that? That is fabulous. Yeah.
Yes, and I still try to be active. We have a mentoring program that mentor girls out in the Glades.
Wow.
Um,
So you got to
yeah,
invite me. I would love to come. I would love to come.
yes, I will send you the schedule.
Okay.
Absolutely, they would love to meet you, and we're
Okay.
doing it virtually right now,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
even better.
Yep. Right. Fabulous.
Awesome. So just a couple of quick announcements. Be sure to check out Miami Land on miamediagroup.com, as well as look out for our upcoming issues. We have several exciting issues that are coming out. Everyone, please have a safe and happy holiday. This is our last episode for 2020. So we will be back with you in 2021 with more exciting guests who are definitely making a mark on our communities and leaving their legacy. So thank you for everyone who's been tuning in with us for the last 6 months. Believe it or not, we're 6 months at this. Who've been tuning in with us for the last 6 months for Lunch with Legacy Leaders, taking time out of your afternoon to join us as you eat your lunch virtually. So thank you for everyone who's tuned in. Please continue to share these videos. This is just the amount of information that we've talked about here today in our previous broadcast. This can only make our community better and stronger. So please continue to share this information, and we will see you in 2021. Thank you, Teri. Have a wonderful and safe holiday.
Yeah, you too, Anne-Marie.
Thank you. And thanks, everyone. Please tune in, and we'll see you next year.